Hello, sixth graders! I am going to talk to you today about the 7 characteristics of civilization. We're going to do 7 characteristics in 7 minutes. That's my goal. Let's see if I can do it, okay? There are specific things that you need in order to have a successful, thriving civilization. The first characteristic you are going to need is food. Obviously, you need food and water to survive. Not only do you just need food, but in this case, you need a surplus of food. What does that mean? It means you need a whole lot of extra food so you can eat it, so you can trade it at a market and get other materials, so that you can have enough to store for the winter months, because you can't go out and grow bananas. Just kidding. They didn't really have a lot of bananas in these civilizations, but they did have wheat. Can't grow wheat in the winter, so you need extra. A surplus of food means that you have extra either to go and trade at a market for other items or to keep for the winter months so that you can survive the winter months. That is the first characteristic. The second characteristic is the development of cities. What's so great about a city? They've got government buildings. What's so great about a city? Everybody is kind of in the same area, and if you have a lot of people in one area and these other people come in, they're like, we want to take over your land. What can these people do? They're all together. They can fight. They can defend. Whereas if you're all spread out, right, you've got these people coming in and they can just pick you off one by one, and then there goes your civilization, no more. Okay, or your attempt at a civilization. So cities are really important. They've got marketplaces, they have government buildings. They serve as a form of protection to protect your civilization. Okay, that is number 2. Number 3 is social stratification. This happens almost naturally sometimes, or the majority of the time. Social stratification is a hierarchy, right? The people with the most money and the most power at the tippity top, and it is a very small population. That's why you see on this screen a triangle. There's few people at the top. And then as you go down, people with a little less power, a little less money, population gets a little bit bigger, and then bigger and bigger. Until down at the bottom, sadly, you've got the largest population with the least amount of power. This happens quite often, if I do say so myself. Okay? It is social stratification. It is based off of wealth. It is based off of power. If you think about even the United States right now, who would be at the top of that social stratification pyramid, right? And then it trickles down, gets bigger and larger. Social stratification is number 4. Specialized occupations and trade. An occupation, what's an occupation? It's a job. I am a teacher. That is my job. I was specifically trained. It's my area of expertise. They had areas of expertise in the creation of civilizations, whether you were a tool maker, you were an expert at making tools. Whether you were a farmer, you were an expert at farming. You knew how to do it. These specific trades help build a civilization. You've got a bunch of experts across the board instead of just random people doing these random jobs, kind of like not so great, right? Maybe I'm not so great farmer. Maybe I'm not so great at making tools, but now I have the ability to go to these places and go to my tool maker and trade my corn for his wrench, hammer, right? So it's really important. This is the start of creating a civilization. This is an important characteristic. That is a characteristic number 1, 2, 3, 4. Characteristic number 5 is systems of government, religion, and education. Government. We need it. Government protects us. Government creates laws. They have courthouses. They have jails. They're there for law and order. Religion is a basis of belief. It brings people together. It creates a community. Education, super important. A lot of civilizations that start to pop up, the very powerful are the only ones that can get an education, but it exists, right? Only boys can go to school. Only boys generally have an education. But it is very important. We need to pass down what we learn to future generations so our civilization exists, continues to exist. Correct? Fantastic. Let's move on to the next characteristic. We are on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am flying through these. This is amazing. Remember, you can pause and stop if you need to. But achievements in art, architecture, and technology. Art is a story. Art can tell us information about a civilization, right? It is almost like a record of what happened during that time period. Not only that, but it's enjoyable. We like art. They like art. People like art. Technology, super important, right? We invented the wheel. That's kind of a big deal. Okay, so advancements in technology and improving technology helps our civilization grow. Architecture, okay, you're not going to have a peaked house like this in California. You don't need it. We have them in New England so that rain and snow can go off the sides. If you've got a flat house in New England, you get a bunch of snow on top, it's going to cave in. Architecture is super important to the success and the viability of buildings within a civilization. You want your buildings to last, correct? Fantastic. And then, our last, but certainly not least, characteristic is systems of record keeping, whether it's written down in symbols and eventually letters and languages, or if it's orally passed down, meaning by story. I share my story with you. I share a lesson with you, okay? Those are ways that record keeping is passed down. Why do we need records? I need a record to know I've figured out how to build a wheel. Awesome sauce. Now what I need to do, I want my son and my daughter to know how to build a wheel. My grandchildren to know how to build a wheel. I'm going to write that stuff down so they don't forget, right? I'm going to write down when I can plant my seeds so I don't forget. So future generations can plant in the appropriate time and they're not planting in the middle of the winter, right? And all their crops are dying. So it's super, super important. Laws, you need a record of laws so people can follow them. All of these things have to do with systems of record keeping. And oh my God, I just ended it. It was like 700, you guys. I totally did it. And I know I'm going over because I'm super excited, but those are the 7 characteristics of civilization. You've got your notes that you can write these down on. Make sure you paused and stopped and rewound or fast forwarded where you need to, okay? Because this video, yeah, it was super quick, but you have the ability to slow it down for yourself so that you can take notes and so that you can understand it, all right? Have a fabulous afternoon. I appreciate your time. Goodbye.